From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Nicole Griffin.
Nicole, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez, and these are your headlines on this December the 17th. More vaccines being rolled out right here in Indiana. How local healthcare workers are reacting to getting their first dose.
A retired nurse says she never got her results after taking a COVID-19 test. What health officials recommend you do if you're in the same situation.
And the pandemic causing schools to switch back and forth from in-person learning to virtual learning. Our Kelsey Anderson, she talks with one local teacher about what they've learned to manage all of these constant changes. Thank you for starting your day with Good Morning Indiana. And Nicole, I'm gonna kind of miss the snow yesterday. I enjoyed all that shoveling. It was good cardio to get you started on a early morning.
Yeah, did you get out there and make Mrs. Sanchez happy, get the driveway cleared?
Listen, if you're going to want to live another day, you always want to make your partner happy by doing what you're supposed to do. So, yes, I did do that.
All right. Well, no snow out in the driveway this morning, Todd. We're looking at a better day ahead today.
Yeah, you know, and the temperatures eventually got above freezing yesterday, so a lot of that snow on the pavement at least melted away a little bit. But yeah, it's a quiet day for us today out there, Nicole. We're not going to have a whole lot going on. I wish it was quiet and sunny, but it's going to be quiet and cloudy here across the area today. And because of those clouds, temperatures really not going to do a whole lot. There's a view from IMS looking back towards downtown Indianapolis. 29 in Indy, 31 in Lafayette, 30 in Bloomington. So everybody's within a couple degrees of each other. Anywhere you go all across the area. We're hovering just below that freezing mark with these clouds that are in place. And as far as going forward in this forecast, as we expand out to our west, there's really not a whole lot going on. That's the quiet weather we're going to enjoy. Our snow is now that big storm system that is taking place currently across parts of New England, where they're getting over a foot of snow in spots. But closer to home, again, it's just a quiet day for us from start to finish with lots of clouds around. We're looking at a temperature of about 31 degrees by 11 a.m. with high temperatures later on this afternoon, only a few degrees more than that. Nicole, as we top off, right around 33.
All right, Todd, thank you. The good news here at this hour is the roads are in good shape for your Thursday morning commute. This is a live look at I-65 here at I-865, where traffic is moving up to speed. On my drive in, I had no issues. I didn't hit any slick spots, but just be cautious on those bridges and overpasses in case there are some slick spots out there this morning.
When we received reports of the vaccine first hitting our state and first going in arms, and then pictures showing people actually getting it, has just been overwhelming to all of us.
That's Dr. Christina Box, an emotional reaction from the state's health commissioner as more Hoosier healthcare workers receive the COVID-19 vaccine. IU Health Methodist Hospital was the first in central Indiana to receive doses of Pfizer's COVID vaccine. And healthcare workers are telling us that the vaccine gives them a sense of hope, a sense of relief.
There's just a lot of sadness with this. And so, again, it just makes today really exciting to feel like it's the first day I feel like I've came into work where we might start to win this battle.
I think that as healthcare providers, we have an obligation to kind of lead the way and to show our community that, we trust in our science and our medicine, and that, we need to start eradicating this this virus as quickly as possible, and we have a social obligation.
50 Indiana hospitals expect to have doses of Pfizer's vaccine by the end of the week. Workers at Ascension St. Vincent, Indianapolis are expected to receive theirs later today. Healthcare workers remain the priority while supplies are limited. Here's a look at some of the vaccine developments we're expecting in the coming days. Today, the same FDA panel that reviewed the Pfizer vaccine will meet to go over Moderna's vaccine. That means approval could come as early as this weekend. A CDC committee is also meeting this weekend to review Moderna's vaccine. And on Sunday, they are voting on which Americans should be vaccinated next during phase 1B and 1C of distribution. That will also help guide Indiana's distribution plans.
Early for those vaccines to have an impact as the death toll from the virus in Indiana simply continues to rise. The State Department of Health reporting 125 more deaths due to the virus. That is the second day in a row that more than 100 deaths have been reported in our state. More than 1,000 Hoosiers have died with the virus so far just this month. 6,283 new cases were also reported, bringing the total number of cases to more than 440,000 statewide. The State Department of Health also updated the state map tracking the spread of this virus. 26 counties are in the red, which means they have the highest infection rates. That's down from 36 last week. Hendricks, Johnson, and Hancock were among the counties downgraded now to the orange status.
Similar to warnings before Thanksgiving, Indiana health officials are reminding Hoosiers to put safety first ahead of Christmas by following CDC guidelines. Dr. Christina Bach says the safest way to see your loved ones is virtually.
I know this guidance is hard, and yet another reminder of all that we have sacrificed in 2020. But I encourage you to get creative and think outside the box for your own family and for all those empty seats around the table this year. I truly believe that 2021 will be better.
Well, if you are gathering with family or friends, health officials recommend paying attention to whether any of them practice risky behavior when it comes to the spread of COVID-19 before you spend time with them in person. A Martinsville woman says after being tested for COVID-19, no one ever contacted her about her results.
So instead, she had to reach out to the Morgan County Health Department in Martinsville to find out that she was positive. The retired nurse is back working on the front line and says she waited to receive her results but never got them. Since she wasn't showing symptoms, she almost assumed her results were negative, but luckily she called to find out. She wants to make sure that other Hoosiers are not waiting around for their results.
I know accidents happen. This is a pandemic. You don't have airs like that could affect, like I said, hundreds of people that I've been around. Not just down here in Martinsville. I know it's had to happen other places too. And it really scares me because this is something that can happen. It's an error, it's a mistake.
Working for you, WRTV reached out to the Morgan County Health Department to get answers, and they tell us what happened to Thorpe isn't uncommon and that people should check with the health department in their county if they don't get the results after receiving a test.
While many of us are eager to put 2020 behind us, the end of the year comes with a number of deadlines that families are watching closely. That includes the CDC's national moratorium on evictions, which means thousands of Hoosiers could be forced out of their homes. Jennifer Morris lives on the far east side and is facing an eviction, but she is not alone. Up to 250,000 people are behind on rent in our state. That's according to Prosperity Indiana, and that is because of unemployment or lost hours due to the pandemic. Morris was a personal driver before the pandemic hit, but had to stop working because she is at high risk. She says she's reached out to numerous resources for rental assistance and has nowhere else to turn.
In my 53 years, never had an eviction, never. You know, never struggled as hard than I am doing right now. It's heartbreaking.
When the CDC national moratorium expires at the end of the month, experts say anywhere between 40 and 80,000 Hoosier households are at immediate risk of eviction. If Congress does not release additional rent relief, the state will soon have to make some hard decisions to prevent thousands from becoming homeless.
Schools are dealing with continuous changes during this pandemic, and that's been a major challenge for teachers across our state. This morning, WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us with how the teacher closest to her has been handling all these changes oh so well. Kelsey, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So my brother is a teacher here at Mount Vernon High School. So since this pandemic started, I have heard his highs and his lows of teaching. But he says there are some things he's learned during this time that he will take with him when things hopefully get back to normal soon. So my brother's name is Joe Anderson, and he says some of the new techniques he's using to engage his students virtually are things he's always had access to. Some of them, like utilizing Canvas for more than just messaging, online study games, and Google Meets are things he will use even when school looks normal once again. He's also the technology integration specialist for the middle and high school, so his job also entails helping other teachers realize their resources that are right at their fingertips.
We've had a lot of conversations as a school and departments about how once COVID goes away, what tools do we make sure that we don't want to lose? Like, we've done all this work And there's things that I never did last year that I'm definitely going to continue next year because they just work better. And it was something that I never maybe thought of to do if it wasn't for the COVID times and hybrids and virtuals and stuff like that.
Right, no, that's just totally fine.
Okay.
So just say Now, he says that he and other teachers are excited to get back to the normal classroom setting soon and continue to use their new technologies that they've learned during this time. Now, we've told you yesterday during the noon news that Mount Vernon did have an official snow day yesterday. Their superintendent giving teachers and students all a real day off. We thought those snow days were a thing of the past, and so my brother said that was really good. He knows for all of his students, but also good for those teachers, a good mental break that they could just take time and take the day to just enjoy the snowfall and relax. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. You see Kelsey's all bundled up as she's reporting there up in Hancock County, and you need to bundle up no matter where you are here in central Indiana as you get going on this Thursday morning, because it is chilly and there's not going to be a whole lot of warming that takes place throughout the day today. As you can see here, 28 on your way into work. Coming home, the temperature is only getting up to 32, 33 degrees for your afternoon high. The good news is the storm system from yesterday is now well off to the east. Some heavy snow in New York. If you do have plans or you have flights to New York, Boston, even into Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia, some of the major airports there, make sure you check with your airline. There's been a lot of cancellations. Not only is it snowy, but it's still very windy there as well. As far as the weather here in central Indiana, today is the coldest day that we have remaining in our 7-day planning forecast. You notice the temperatures get at or above normal as we work our way through Friday, and then especially into next week. Highs could be getting close to 50 degrees once again by Monday, putting us well over the average high of 39. We'll break down your extended forecast for you in more detail coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you. What if you could take a COVID test with a sticker? Coming up, why researchers say scratch and sniff technology could help with testing.
And it's the smile that Colts are happy to see. Punter Rigoberto Sanchez returning to the team. Hear what he has to say after his successful cancer treatment. That story and much more coming up on this Thursday, December the 17th, right here on WRTV.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Do you remember scratch and sniff stickers? They could be a new way to test for COVID-19. Researchers at the University of Colorado and Yale University have developed what they call a You Smell It test that works with an app. Essentially, the scratch and sniff technology can help people detect whether they've lost their sense of smell.
There's 5 windows and they have different odorants on each of them. And basically all you have to do is you take an app, which is with your phone, and you basically simply scan the card. It has a QR code, and it recognizes the unique combination of odorants. This is really important because we want the test to be different every time.
Pretty interesting. Well, after smelling the 5 windows, users guess the corresponding odors. Then the app will give a result. Researchers say it would not replace the current test. Instead, it would help people, let them know if they should go get tested. Right now, they are working on getting approval from the FDA for emergency use.
That is a great idea. I hope that they're able to get that authorization. Listen, let's take it out to the Capitol Hill, where lawmakers in Washington really getting much closer to striking a deal on a new COVID-19 relief package. These are the details as of this morning. You know, negotiations ended yesterday. The most progress we have seen in Congress since the landmark aid was really put together back in March. Lawmakers are looking at a $900 billion package that would offer aid to businesses, $300 weekly unemployment checks, and $600 stimulus payments to most Americans. President-elect Joe Biden is calling this emerging aid. He calls it a down payment and is promising more help next year.
The winter storm slamming the Northeast has turned deadly, with several serious crashes overnight, and now the concern is power outages. ABC's Kenneth Moten has more on the major snowfall.
This morning, a powerful storm packing blizzard conditions hammering the Northeast. Snow piling up as much as 3 inches per hour in some areas.
It sucks when all the snow's hitting your face, you know, it kind of stings a little.
And now the storm turning deadly overnight. In central Pennsylvania, a pileup involving up to 60 vehicles, killing at least 2 people. Officers are making this plea.
If you don't need to be out, stay home.
This morning, millions of people from New York to Boston and down to Philadelphia are being told to stay off the roads.
I'll tell you, it looks pretty bad so far if it keeps on coming down. But I think it breaks up the monotony of things.
At the airports, hundreds of flights for today already canceled.
Be safe. We've had a tough year. This is one way, I guess, to ring out the old year and ring in the new year. But the most important thing we can do as we approach the holiday is to get through this storm safely.
In the meantime, some schools are being praised for canceling virtual classes today because of the storm. A superintendent in West Virginia explained his decision, writing, "For generations, families have greeted the first snow day of the year with joy. Go build a snowman." And a school district in Indiana also canceled virtual classes, telling students their assignments include playing in the snow and practice the skills of estimation and measurement when throwing snowballs. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
All right, and our snowfall totals here in central Indiana yesterday, not as impressive as they're seeing out to the east, where they're measuring over 12 inches of snow in many locations. But it was nice to see the snow across parts of the area yesterday. And here are those snowfall totals. There was that band of heavier snow that set up north of Indy, Lafayette to Kokomo to Tipton, where they had about 3 inches of snow. Cicero very close to 3 inches as well. Out there at Morris Reservoir, officially downtown Indianapolis, and at the airport, 1.8 inches. And that was right in that 1 to 3 inch total that we forecasted for you. As we go forward in this forecast, it's pretty quiet for us. There's not a whole lot going on, especially today. There's clouds in place. Temperatures, they will not move much throughout the day today, but warmer weather is on the way in the coming days as the skies start to brighten. And Saturday, there could be a very light, brief, wintry mix. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. It just depends on the timing of that front. Temperatures on Saturday eventually climb up to 40 degrees, so that would be all rain. But if it comes in a little bit earlier in the morning, there could be a little bit of a brief wintry mix, something we'll keep a focus on. But again, I don't think it's a whole big event for us. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s here this morning, but everybody's still above freezing, or below freezing rather, so can't rule out the chance of maybe an isolated slick spot. Wind chill values a little bit colder as well, as we are in the 20s in all locations except up there in Lafayette, where it feels like it's 31 degrees. The clouds are in place. They will not break apart throughout the day today. There's the storm system now on the East Coast moving through the New England states. Highs today, only about 32 in Logansport, as well as Frankfort and Kokomo, 32 in Anderson, Marion at 31 degrees. In the central portion of the state, anywhere from 32 to about 35 as you work your way into Brazil, as well as Martinsville and Shelbyville. And then temperatures in southern locations will be topping off right around those numbers as well, as we'll see them be right around 34 in Bloomington, 35 in Seymour. Going forward throughout the evening hours, it's not going to be a bad evening if you're heading to check out the Christmas displays across central Indiana. It's cloudy. The clouds will start to break apart, though, as the evening progresses. Temperatures still hovering right around freezing. But as you wake up tomorrow morning, as the skies start to clear, it does get really cold to start off our Friday, as we'll be in the low 20s in most locations, 21 in Indy, 22 in Bloomington. And then throughout the day tomorrow, though, as we start with some sunshine, temperatures will be a little bit warmer. We'll see highs that'll be closer to 40 degrees during the day tomorrow. And then going forward in the forecast, Saturday again, some rain showers possible in the morning, maybe a brief wintry mix, and then beautiful stretch of weather Monday and Tuesday with lots of sunshine and temperatures, Nicole, that'll be topping off in the mid-40s.
All right, Todd, thank you. And the roads are in good shape. This morning, we're taking a live look at I-65 at I-465 South, where mostly the roads are dry this morning. No major crashes or delays right now, but we will keep monitoring conditions all morning long. The NFL says they will not have mandatory bubbles for the playoffs. In a memo, the league said clubs, quote, may not require players and staff to stay in a hotel. The decision was made after comparing the number of positive cases in the NFL to the possible spread if players were gathered at the same hotel. Daily testing will continue during the playoffs, and each team will use 2 planes for road games for social distancing. The 2020 postseason will kick off on January 9th.
And Nicole, good news for the Colts and Colts Nation. Punter Rigoberto Sanchez is back on the field after having surgery to remove a cancerous tumor 15 days before. He returned to practice Wednesday and shared more about his road to recovery.
I'm just so thankful that they caught it early and, it didn't spread anywhere around my body. I'm just so grateful for the doctors here in the Colts locker room and in Indiana as well. And it's amazing to be back.
It is great to have you back. Sanchez is taking it one day at a time, and it's unclear if he'll start in Sunday's game against the Houston Texans. Go Colts, and welcome back, Sanchez. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on WRTV.
For many people like my mom and my sister, Raphael, holiday decorations are one of the most enjoyable parts of the season.
And here at the official WRTV living room, all I have is this metallic sort of snow-covered Christmas tree. It's okay. Have you seen Todd Clausen's tree? We'll talk about that in a second. I want to take you to Wisconsin, right, where this young man really went all out. He decorated his car. Have you seen this? This is Tyler Camhol's 18-year-old. He covered his Chevy Camaro in Christmas lights. Now that's quite a scene. While it's a unique way to celebrate the holiday, it did get him in trouble with police, though. An officer pulled him over because the lights do not follow Wisconsin law. But he got off really easy with just a warning and some social media exposure. The officer said she liked his creativity. She took a picture of his entire car that you see there and posted it on Facebook. Now Tyler is getting requests from nursing homes and neighborhoods to drive by. I would suggest a police escort before those drive-bys, Nicole, because you don't want to get a ticket. And also watch your car battery, because during the winter months, of course, if you leave all those lights on, you could cause your battery to die. But nonetheless, there you have it. And I just wish that Todd Clausen could light up his Christmas tree this morning to bring us some nice, good cheer on this Thursday.
I see the lights back there. It looks good.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Looks nice, Todd.
Yeah, you know, I pieced it together with what I had in the house. I didn't have a stand, so honestly, it's a chair with like one of those personal tables on top of the chair, and then I just put a couple tree skirts around it. But hey, it's better than a blank wall back there, right? All right, outside right now it is quiet, and not much changes really throughout the entire day as far as sky cover goes or temperatures. Lots of clouds this morning, temperatures in the 20s as we start. There could be a few flurries out there as well, and then as we go throughout the afternoon hours, temperatures just barely get above the freezing mark with highs right around 33 degrees in those mostly cloudy skies. We're back in just a couple minutes here on Good Morning Indiana. I hope we see you then. As far as the rest of the weekend forecast, we'll talk more about that and main weather in just a few minutes.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Trust those that are putting their life on the line every day in the hospital, that if they're getting it, then I want to get it, and I think they should too.
Encouraging Hoosiers to get vaccinated when the time comes. The big story at 5:30, we're talking to those on the front line volunteering and getting the vaccine. Thank you for starting your morning right here on WRTV with Good Morning Indiana. And Nicole, I was talking to a Johnson County Health Department official yesterday that I am ready to roll up my sleeve when it's time to get the shot. One, it's a good cause, and as you know, I always love a good selfie, so it's a 2-for-1 special.
Yeah, you got to bring the selfie stick when you do it. Post on Twitter, Instagram. Right? Yeah, many people saying they feel like there's finally a light at the end of the tunnel. And as far as weather today, meteorologist Todd Clausen, we're seeing some good weather, not like we did yesterday with the snow-covered roads.
Yeah, you know, yesterday's commute in the morning was obviously a little more difficult because there was the snow on the ground. It was festive, though. It was kind of nice walking down the stairs in the morning hours and seeing the fresh blanket of snow and the snow falling yesterday. But that is now pushed off to the east. The clouds are still in place here this morning, and it is still very chilly. So what do you need to grab before you go here this morning? Well, you don't need the sunglasses. I'm not counting on much of anything in the way of sunshine today. Obviously, you need the coat, but we'll throw the hat and gloves in there as well, because when you look at the temperatures, they don't jump out at you this time of year for being all that bad. Here we are in the middle of December, so upper 20s and the low 30s aren't really that bad, but there's still kind of just that damp feel out there, and it makes it feel a little bit colder, and that damp feel kind of is what cuts through you. So that's why you definitely need to bundle up, especially if you're going to be out for an extended period of time. But overall, our weather pattern is pretty quiet. There could be a flurry or two today that will drift in off of Lake Michigan, but that should be just about it. Otherwise, just cloudy skies and not much movement temperature-wise. 33 degrees by the noon hour, and that's where we stay all afternoon. 33 is your 4 p.m. temperature, as well as your high temperature later on today. Nicole.
All right, Todd, thank you. We are seeing a big difference this morning out on the roads because they are dry. No major crashes or delays to report at all so far this morning. Here's a live look at I-70 Franklin Road, where you can see traffic is moving up to speed. We do know DPW crews are making out in those residential areas this morning, so just try to take it slow in those areas as they make their way to your neighborhood. We'll keep you updated all morning long on traffic conditions right here on Good Morning Indiana.
When you add in the more than 300 probable deaths based on the clinical diagnosis, we've lost more than 7,100 Hoosiers from this pandemic this year. That translates to 7,100 heartbroken families who need us all to buckle down and get through these next months. Last week,
This morning, the pandemic continues to take a toll on Hoosier lives. For the second day in a row, state health officials report a death count in the triple digits. 125 Hoosier deaths because of the virus occurred between November the 18th and December the 15th. Since March, 6,781 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Health officials also report 320 probable COVID-19 deaths. Now, state health officials also report more than 6,200 new positive cases. That's an increase of nearly 2,000 cases from the previous day. To date, 440,850 Hoosiers have tested positive with the virus. Our 7-day positivity rate remains at 12.5%. And here at WRTV, we continue to keep a really close eye on hospital resources. As of this morning, 3,192 Hoosiers are in the hospital either with the virus or a suspected case of COVID-19. Those patients are using about 40% of the state's ICU beds. 20% remain unused. As for ventilators, under 60% are available statewide.
Hundreds of Hoosiers training to be doctors and nurses are stepping up to help with vaccination efforts. We spoke with Sophia Joseph and Joey Laneke. Both are second-year med students at IU. Both also have family members in the medical field. They tell us they have seen firsthand the toll that the pandemic is taking on healthcare workers, and that is why they wanted to volunteer.
So my mom, she works in the hospital, and so she actually has been working in the COVID unit recently. I have a little brother. He's in elementary school, so he's actually been living at my grandparents' house just so we can avoid exposure of him to my mom.
My mother's a nurse, and she got COVID and was out. She's still kind of recovering with been sleeping all the time. My dad ended up in the ER actually for 3 or 4 days, and it kind of rocked our family a little bit. And I have other siblings that are nurses and stuff, so really it's kind of hit home. That's definitely why I want to be a part of today, and then here on out.
For those skeptical of getting the vaccine when it's made available to you, these two med students say you should follow the lead of these frontline workers. And this morning we're hearing from one of those frontline workers who was vaccinated just last night.
If some of your reservation has to do with the possibility of discomfort with the shot itself, please do not let that be a barrier. I felt almost absolutely nothing. And again, I feel fine afterwards. I'm hopeful now that the community makes the choice to help us take a huge step in getting back to normal and goes and gets vaccinated.
Meanwhile, the state's governor will be waiting in line. Governor Holcomb says he'll get vaccinated at the same time as the general public. He wants to make sure that healthcare workers and those in high-risk groups go first. So far, 46,000 of Indiana's more than 400,000 eligible healthcare workers have registered to get their first dose of the vaccine. The state's chief medical officer, Dr. Lindsay Weaver, says the state is working on a dashboard to track the vaccinations. That's expected to be launched within the next few weeks.
The pandemic has brought consistent changes for teachers as their schedules go from normal to hybrid to virtual and back again. And this morning, our Kelsey Anderson is live with how the teacher closest to her is handling the changes. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nicole. So my brother is a teacher here at Mount Vernon High School, and he's also the technology integration specialist. So through this pandemic, over the last 10 months, I have heard his highs and lows of teaching, but he did say he's learned a lot of new techniques that he says he will take into the classroom once things get back to normal.
All right, let's go and talk about Chapter 12B.
Joe Anderson is a math teacher at Mount Vernon High School.
Then identify the solid, if it is a polyhedron.
And while class is still in session, the classroom is empty.
We've kind of explained it like a carpenter going to work and none of their tools work and they still have to do their job.
The high school is running under a hybrid model with one virtual day, meaning on Thursdays, no one besides the teacher is in the classroom. The changes forcing teachers to find new ways to reach their students.
We've had a lot of teachers really reinvent what they've been doing, finding new tools to make their learning still successful for their kids. Again, we are going to do 3 Kahoot reviews today, and then stay on when you're done. We're going to do a Canvas mini quiz.
On top of teaching, my brother also serves as the technology integration specialist for the middle school and high school.
So a lot of teachers have been using new tools, utilizing Google Meet and Zooms, obviously, like we've never had to do.
He's been training his coworkers how to better utilize the technology they've had all along.
It's a lot of usually just use it for announcements or use it to post like a quick message, and now we have teachers making quizzes and tests within it, assigning homeworks and projects through Canvas and Google Classroom like we haven't done before. So it's a lot of helping them when I'm not teaching and kind of incorporating a lot of our new skills.
New skills, he says, he and other teachers will keep, even when students can be in the classroom full time.
But I think a lot of teachers are excited for getting back into the classroom next year, hopefully full time, and kind of keeping those tools in their tool belt, but also getting back to a little bit of normalcy.
He has this advice for teachers who may be struggling to find new ways to engage their students.
Use your resources, use your friends, use your teammates, and go out of the department. I've seen some people in the music department that have been using stuff that I've incorporated into my class. So yeah, just reach out, ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
So today is one of Mount Vernon's scheduled virtual days. So everyone is virtual on Thursdays each and every week. And his advice for students who are at home this week, today learning virtually, is to put away all the distractions and engage in that classroom setting just like you would if you were physically in the building. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. She's all bundled up, and rightfully so here this morning as temperatures are sitting in the 20s in most locations. There's a few 30s out there, but as the kids head off to the bus stop, definitely neat to have the hat like you saw in Kelsey there. And obviously, every day this time of year, you're going to need the jacket, but maybe put a couple layers under the jacket as well. Because although 29 isn't the worst we'll see here this winter, there's still kind of a damp feel out there, and that makes it feel even a little bit cooler. And the problem is, today, we're just not going to warm a whole lot. We're only going up to about 33 degrees as the kids come home from school. So there's not going to be much change in the temperatures, and there's not going to be much change as far as the sky cover goes. It's quiet here in central Indiana. You may see a flurry or two, but look at all this heavy banding of snow across parts of the northeast where they're seeing anywhere from about 8 to 18 inches of snow depending on where you are. The snow that's here in central Indiana, even yesterday, temperatures got up to right around 32, and we've seen some of that snow melt. The melting will continue across the area as our temperatures will start to trend at or above normal all the way into Christmas week. We'll talk more about the rest of your 7-day planning forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. Thank you for honoring your commitment to diversity with this administration that you're assembling. And thank you, Madam Vice President.
Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg is poised to join President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet. Straight ahead, why his nomination means so much to so many across the country. It's 5:45. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. This is a live look at your morning commute. I-70 at Franklin Road. We do have a 1-2-hour delay this morning with Marion Community Schools, but other than that, roads appear to be just fine here in central Indiana. Raphael.
Nicole, about 200 Indiana National Guardsmen and airmen received the COVID vaccine on Wednesday. The vaccinations all part of a separate shipment of vaccines allocated by the U.S. Department of Defense. They are not. They are not part of the vaccines that the state is receiving for frontline civilian healthcare workers. The vaccinated guardsmen have been on the front lines, as you know, responding, of course, at a number of long-term care facilities, COVID testing sites. They've also been involved with PPE distribution as well as with food banks. Indiana and New York are the first two states to pilot this Defense Department vaccination program. In Washington, Vice President Mike Pence is expected to get the COVID vaccine during a public event tomorrow. Second Lady Karen Pence and Surgeon General Jerome Adams will receive the vaccine as well. Now, President-elect Joe Biden is set to get vaccinated early next week, also in a public setting. Meanwhile, a White House official says that Mr. Trump is still benefiting from the antibody cocktail he was given after getting the virus in the fall and will not be vaccinated anytime soon.
It is official. President-elect Joe Biden has chosen former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg as his pick for transportation secretary. The 38-year-old served 2 terms as mayor, and he also served in the war in Afghanistan. Buttigieg started the year as one of the many Democrats seeking the presidency, but that dream did not pan out for him. He dropped out of the race in March and endorsed Biden. During yesterday's event, Buttigieg acknowledged his nomination is historic.
I can remember watching the news, 17 years old in Indiana, seeing a story about an appointee of President Clinton named to be an ambassador, attacked and denied a vote in the Senate because he was gay. I watched that story and I learned something about some of the limits that exist in this country when it comes to who is allowed to belong. But just as important, I saw how those limits could be challenged. So 2 decades later, I can't help but think of a 17-year-old somewhere who might be watching us right now. Somebody who wonders whether and where they belong in the world, or even in their own family. And I'm thinking about the message that today's announcement is sending to them. So thank you, Mr. President-elect. Thank you for honoring your commitment to diversity. With this
If confirmed, Buttigieg would be the first openly gay person confirmed by the Senate to a cabinet post. The nomination was applauded by union leaders, transportation officials, LGBTQ activists, and Democratic lawmakers as a solid pick.
I felt that
This morning, 2 new nonstop flights are leaving from Indianapolis International Airport to some nice sunny destinations. They're headed for Fort Myers, Florida and Cancun, Mexico. United Airlines will launch its inaugural daily nonstop flight at 11:45 this morning. It marks the airline's first nonstop flight to serve Fort Myers out of Indianapolis. Now, American Airlines' inaugural nonstop flight to Cancun will take off on Saturday at 11:18. That flight will mark Americans' first flight out of Indianapolis to serve Cancun. And Todd Clausen, let me be the first to tell all our viewers, good trip, buen viaje, and if you need a official translator to go with you to Cancun, I am packed and ready to go. Let's do this thing.
Hey, that's right. And you can be my translator and you can bring me the drinks on the beach. It would be perfect. You can just
tequila, baby. Tequila. We got this.
Oh, man, Cancun does sound pretty nice right about now, especially after dealing with the snow yesterday and these chilly temperatures that we have this morning. It's a cloudy start to our day. As you take a live look from IMS back towards downtown Indianapolis, you could obviously see the skyline. So it's not visibility issues that we're talking about, but what you see there and what's reducing the view a little bit is just kind of the moisture that's suspended in the atmosphere. And that's just making it feel a little bit colder than it actually is out there. And there's a few flurries that are possible as well. I noticed a few outside my window here earlier this morning. But look at the temperature, 29 degrees, but what it feels like is 20, and the wind's not all that strong. So that feels like temperature is really just kind of because of that moisture that's out there left over from the melting of the snow that took place yesterday afternoon, and there's still some snow on the ground. And so just bundle up this morning as you get going. 29 in Greenfield, 26 in Richmond, 30, common number there from Sullivan to Bloomington down to Bedford and then over to Connorsville. But it feels like 21 in Muncie and 25 is what it feels like down in Monroe County. As far as the temperatures throughout the day today, they're really just not going to do much at all. The temperature is not going to be very different or even noticeable from this morning compared to later on this afternoon, and the sky's not going to change. It's just a cloudy, gray day for us across the area, with again a flurry or two from time to time. Today that'll be drifting in off of Lake Michigan, but any significant snow is obviously well off to our east at this point. And you can see on TrueCast here, there's just a chance of a flurry or two from time to time rotating through, especially in northern locations as we get into the afternoon and eventually into the evening hours. Now, overnight tonight, the skies are going to clear a little bit, and that's going to allow the temperatures to drop off pretty quickly. Tomorrow morning's the coldest start that we have for at least the next 7 to 8 days. So you'll really need to bundle up tomorrow morning. And then throughout the day tomorrow, we do get some sunshine back in the forecast, and that's going to result in temperatures climbing back up a little bit closer to 40 degrees for your high on Friday. And then once we get to Saturday, there could be a brief little wintry mix in the morning hours, but for the most part, we're looking at scattered showers. And then it's pretty comfortable. Sunday through Wednesday, temperatures will be anywhere from about 40 to 46 degrees with plenty of sunshine in the forecast. Nicole?
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a live look out at the roads this morning. This is I-69 north of 126th Street. Good morning to everyone waking up in the Fishers area. I can tell you I drove this route downtown Indy this morning and roads were just fine. Everything was perfectly fine this morning, so no big delays or crashes to slow you down. Raf.
Nicole, thank you so much. Many families may be experiencing that extra stress having to work from home. Of course, all this illness because of COVID-19 and the sadness that often comes with the holiday season because of depression. Well, according to the American Association of Retired Persons, more than 3/4 of families are making optional plans for Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa because of this pandemic. Amy Goyer with AARP says there are some things that you can do right now over the next couple of days to relieve that stress. First, Goyer says the focus on the most important traditions and figure out how you can adapt them. For loved ones outside the home, maybe increase how often you talk with them. You could also decorate their windows or possibly even mail some decorations. And finally, start new holiday traditions like maybe reading a book or watching a movie or Christmas morning coffee over video chat.
Well, a tiny robot is showing that work can be fun. Coming up after the break, the reason it spontaneously break dances. It's 5:53. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Since we are the Dancing with the Stars station, let me raise my paddle and give a 10 to Todd Clausen for his weathercast yesterday, right? And also a 10 for his potential to breakdance, and you'll see why. Creators of an amazing piece of robot technology show off its bells and whistles and its dance moves. Todd Clausen, you too can do this. This tiny, mind-boggling underwater robot has no moving parts, but it can still walk, roll, and transport cargo. The centimeter-sized soft tissue robot was created by researchers at Northwestern University. The tiny robot follows the direction of a magnetic field, and it can carry cargo and walk uphill at human speeds. And Todd, check that out. It has nothing on you, Todd. It can even breakdance. I've seen your moves there at the weather department. Also, oh, Todd, you could do that. Todd, you could, I'm sure you could beat those dance moves. Come on.
Yeah, you know, I could, but unfortunately the camera's not on right now, Raphael. You're just hearing my voice, so you can't see me doing that right now here in my basement, spinning around and just doing some somersaults like that. So you'll just have to wait for another opportunity when you can catch me, but that is pretty amazing. All right, outside right now, temperatures hovering just below freezing in most locations. There could be a flurry or two this morning across central Indiana, but overall we're just looking at clouds throughout the entire day and a chilly day as your high temperature only gets up to 33 degrees. Plenty more coming for your 6 o'clock hour here on Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.